Welcome to my fourth podcast episode. I'm Marta Mitchell. I've had a few new followers on Instagram and following a recent pattern release, so I thought I'd introduce myself. I am a crochet designer. I live in Scotland on the east coast by the sea, and I design mostly accessories, and I specialise in designing socks, crochet socks. So that's a tiny bit of my background. I'm going to jump right in with what I've been up to lately. So the pattern release was for these Fiddle Socks. I have to apologise, the sun is actually a reflection, would you believe? It's reflecting, it's not direct sunlight at all, it's just a reflection from outside, and it will pass. I thought about shutting the blind, but I think in 5 minutes it'll be gone, and then I'll have to get up and open the blind, so I will just leave that. So, Fiddle Socks, my first double knitting sock pattern. Lots of people said to me that they didn't like working with 4-ply yarn, which is what most of my socks are crocheted in, and could I please design some in double knitting. So this is double knitting yarn. It's an indie yarn. The light moved, there we can get it closer. It's an indie yarn from a UK company called Lay Family Yarn, and this colourway was called Fireside Cuddles. If you've seen on social media the photo shoot I did with them, it's actually me wearing the socks in front of our wood burning stove here. And this time it was actually winter. This is the last pair of socks that I crocheted did the photo shoot for, in front of the stove. It was the hottest day of the year, and I was there, I had jeans on and the woolly socks, and it was boiling. Yeah, not only that, I was having to hold positions back like this to get the angle, because I took them myself. Although I've credited my son in both patterns for helping me with the photos, because he was kind of, although I was holding the camera, he was kind of pushing buttons and selecting light settings, and then he did the final edits as well, so he definitely gets credit there. So this one, it was actually cold, so that was good. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these ones for myself. These are my size. This is a UK 9, the second largest. They go up to an extra large, so I designed them in 4 sizes: a small, medium, large, extra large, adult sizes, and there's loads of scope for making them longer, or making their circumference smaller or bigger. It would be easy peasy to do that if you have a background in crochet. If you're a beginner, I would recommend my fabulous socks, which I'll come to in a minute. I've got them sitting there, because they have a slightly more straightforward heel. This heel is a fully turned heel with the heel flap and the turn, and you can see the gusset decreases down here. So this sock is slightly more complex than my first pattern, but it's rated intermediate, so if you have been crocheting a while, you'll manage it fine. And I also have video tutorials that go alongside it, so for each stage there is a YouTube link, which is an unlisted video, so it's only in that pattern, it's not available for the public. So thank you if you have bought the pattern. I was over the moon with how the sales went. It went live. I'm filming today on Thursday the 20th? Yes, Thursday 20th of January. And the pattern went live yesterday. And for January, I wasn't sure if I was going to release it at all in January, but I kind of thought it was ready to go, let's just do it. And it has been a real hit, which is so encouraging. And already so far, January has been my best sales month ever, which has surprised me, because I had expected a bit of a lull this month. But obviously folks are still wanting to sit and crochet and knit as well. I suppose that knitting is big too. I think we're all just feeling that we need that time out to sit and craft something with our hands. So thank you if you bought the pattern. If you haven't and you're interested, I shall pop the link in the description. So anything else I want to say about these? I did work up a smaller size just between Christmas and New Year. I worked up the medium in, let's get it away from the glare there. They're cream, they're not neon, they're cream. This yarn is double knitting again, and it's by For the Love of Yarn. It was a small set that had the 100 grams of the cream and 2 smaller skeins of the contrast that came in a little pack together. So I quickly crocheted up that. Although the pattern has been thoroughly tested, I just wanted to go ahead and test the medium size myself as well, just to be thorough there. And I quite like these ones. They do have a nice roomy heel. You'll see that there's a good instep space in these socks, which if you don't need that, it'd be very simple just to crochet less rows in your heel flap and then pick up less stitches, and you'll have less rounds to do in the gusset. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, they're very customizable, these socks. If you're going to do that, I would recommend probably printing the pattern out and just making a note so when you make your second one you know what you're doing, or it's crochet so you can make them both at the same time. You're not tied up with needles like you are in knitting. Excuse me while I sip some tea. It's cold today, although that sun is coming in. It's colder than it has been the last couple of days, so warm my hands there. So I'm all about socks at the minute. Oh, careful, quick reaction there. My fabulous socks. This is my very first sock pattern, and it's my most popular pattern on Ravelry. Interestingly, my most popular pattern on Lovecrafts is my Easy Wrist Warmers. It's strange how the two sites have different favourites. Not quite sure how that has happened, but yeah, I mean clear favourites. It's quite astounding, really. Anyway, that aside, this is my fabulous socks. This is the original one, which I have worn and worn and worn, and I think I mentioned in the last video that I've been making video tutorials for it, because this one went up before I started doing video tutorials. So I worked up a smaller one. Oh, we've got that bright light again. I wonder if I come around this side. No. Back here? No. I'll maybe show you once that light from the sun calms down a bit. I'll show you the colour on this, because it's a gentle off-white with flecks of darker pink and neon. There's some neon yellow and neon pink, neon orange through it, and it's variegated, sort of self-striping actually, around the cuff, which worked out well. Can that come? Yeah. I love how it pulled on the cuff, and we got mostly the yellow. It did go a bit off at one point, but mostly the yellow. I love that around there, and the pink around the bottom. Just the way that worked out, the colour pooling. And this yarn is from the Wool Shed. That was a couple of their monthly boxes from 2021. This one was a spring one, and the multicoloured one was a Frida Kahlo one. So I've just popped my leftovers. I knitted 2 pairs of socks. I knitted one in all in that and one all in that, and I have just popped the leftovers together to make that. So I released that, was it last week? I think it was last week. Days have merged a little bit. Last week, we'll call it last week, shall we? I re-released that pattern, and I popped video tutorials through it, and I also just gave the whole pattern a bit of an uplift, because it was designed back in 2018, and I've just changed the way that I do certain things in my patterns. You'll notice that the abbreviations, for example, are now all in alphabetical order, because my new tech editor says that's the way they should be, and which I had never thought about. I tended to just kind of throw them in as they came up. But my new tech editor, who is Catherine Wheeler at Snoop Tigger Crafts, she likes them all to be alphabetical, so that's the way they shall be from now on. The other thing I've changed is if there are special stitches, like perhaps in this one there's an extended double crochet, for example, then I've added a special stitches section, whereas previously they have all just come under the generic notes bit. So they have been in there, it's not that I've not included them. I just popped them, the whole lot, under notes in with all your other information that you might need. So now, if you're on the pattern, you can see exactly where those are. So yeah, that's just a couple of little things that I've changed over the years, and the font as well. There was a time in 2018 when I really liked that typewriter type font, which now I just don't like it, so I've just streamlined that. I kept the photos, the original photos, and yeah, you can see how hard wearing this sock is, because I wear it a lot. Every winter I'll wear it for 3 or 4 days. You can probably get out of a woolly sock, because I normally wear them with a cotton sock underneath as well. So yeah, it is wearing well. So this one's Paintbox Yarns in colourway Rainbow Stripe. It's sock yarn. So far I have designed crochet patterns for 5 pairs of socks. 3 of them are in 4-ply. 1 is in Aran weight, that is the banjo socks, and the one I've just done is in the double knitting. And I can give you a little bit of a teaser and say that I'm currently designing sock pattern number 6, but it's for a magazine, so I am not showing you anything about that, or I'm not even going to share the colour or anything. I'm just going to keep that under wraps for now. But that is really exciting. I found out the other day and I am chuffed to bits about that. And that should be coming out in the spring, so in the Northern Hemisphere in the spring. So I am all guns blazing, getting on with writing up that pattern, and yeah, exciting. Now it's January, and typically in January I take part in the Fun a Day movement, which is a worldwide movement started across in the States, and it's where you do something small, or I guess it could be big, scale wise and project wise, something fun a day in January, as the title suggests. And I have shifted over the years. Sometimes I've done a crochet based thing, and sometimes I've done drawing. Last year I did calligraphy. This year I've gone back to crochet, and every day in January I am crocheting a swatch. And some of them are coming from stitch dictionaries. Some of them, if I've got more time, I am having just a play around and coming up with some sort of combos for these. Where's this one? This one I actually put on my grid on Instagram. I really like it. It's I can't remember if I decided to call it a square stitch or a boxy stitch. This one is pretty smart. So I popped the instructions for this one on my grid, but I've been really busy in the last week and I haven't been able to do any more of those, but I hope to do at least another one before the end of the month. And because I live very close to Dundee, I joined the Dundee Fun-a-Day Dundee group. We'll call it group. There's a bunch of folks around the Dundee area, and it has a team that help and oversee that and bring folks together. And there's the Fun-a-Day Dundee hashtag, which is FADD 2022, I think. Yeah. To follow. So there's all sorts of local artists, and some are professional and some are just doing it for fun. It's a big mix, but it's always a lovely group because everyone just comes together and encourages and supports each other. And there is an exhibition generally. There hasn't been the last 2 years. We've did it online, which hasn't quite been the same, but there's been an exhibition in the past pre-COVID, which is great because we can see each other's work, and there's maybe people who don't consider themselves to be an artist, or even sometimes not even that creative, and then they can take part in that, and I think it's a big boost for them to see their work in a gallery sort of setting. So my plan with these, as well as making the pretty swatches, is I have started to border them. Here's one, bordering them in cream, and then I'm going to join them together into probably be a baby-sized blanket. And if I do it every day for the 30 days, that'll give me 6 by 5. They are about, without the border, they're about 12 centimetres across. So that'll give me a small blanket for my baby. Not sure who I'll gift it to yet, which I'll have to see. And for that one, I am using Rico Design Essentials Merino DK, which I managed to buy in a wee shop in Broughty Ferry. So I was happy to be able to buy that in my local yarn shop. And it is an extra fine superwash merino, and it's virgin wool. It's nice and soft. They've got a good range of colours in there, so I was happy with that. Let me have another sip of tea. I've got my Cass Kidston in for Marta mug today. Now, shall we do... Let's go for this one. Let's try to think which project to show you next. For Christmas, I got the Mosaic Crochet Workshop book by Esme Crick from my bestie, Gwen. And I spent quite a while over Christmas just poring over the beautiful designs in here. So many lovely patterns to choose from. And I have gone for the Dutch Houses one, which is, yeah, that's the best photo, I think. This one with the sort of Amsterdam based tall houses that you see by the canal. And I've made a good start on it. You can see I've run out of my first ball of wool actually, so that's quite a good point. You can see the mosaic crochet, how you work 2 rows in one colour, and then you switch at the end and start with your other colour, and you work in front of these chains that go across. You see the difference? So here, these bits here that I'm showing you with this hand, they will get covered, but we'll still see these tall bits coming through to form the windows. It is really clever. It's the first time I've done mosaic crochet, and if you can follow a crochet pattern, you'll be fine. Once you get to grips with, I see, right, we're doing 2 rows. It's always 2 rows, you go along and back in the same colour, all your colour changes are down the one side, and most projects will then finish by working into this edge and they will get completely covered, so we're not ending up with loads of ends. I've got the start of each colour, and obviously if I change yarn I'll have that, but not loads of ends for a big colour project, which is really smart. So there are 5 different sets of houses. My other colours are this teal and the burgundy. Put them all together. That's the sun sorting itself out now, thank goodness. Yeah, so I'm going to keep the cream background all the way through, and as you can see, well, maybe you can, there's quite a bit of glare there. It's Schachenmayr Merino Extrafine 120 that I'm using, and it is double knitting weight yarn. So is the Funny project as well, that is double knitting, I should have said. So yeah, I'm loving this new project. This is my my quiet time project. Tend not to do this if I'm watching TV. But yeah, if I've got 20 minutes, half an hour to sit down, then this is my go-to project. And it's going up quite fast actually, because when I'm saying you're going along and then back, when you come back along with the same colour, you're basically repeating in reverse what you've just done, so that bit is pretty fast. And it's becoming more and more intuitive as I get on with it. I'm beginning to look at the pattern less, and I'm beginning to, I'm going to show you the chart actually very quickly. I'm beginning to understand how the chart works, and just go with that. So, yeah, that one's good. have a little bit of knitting to show you. I'm working a pair of basic socks using Christine Perry Win It Mums pattern. I don't know, it's maybe the 20th one I've done. It's just a plain vanilla sock with the heel flap, heel turn and gusset. Knitting socks actually does inspire me a lot for designing them in crochet. I quite often like to knit socks. I only ever design in crochet, so if you see me with knitting projects, that's just me having fun, a bit of downtime. I only ever design in crochet, but I often get ideas from knitting, and the way that my last couple of pairs of socks are formed basically follows the same principles as a knitted sock, so that's where I've taken that from. This one is using Rusty Ferret yarn from LG, who's based in Dundee. My husband bought me the skein for Christmas. He's bought me one of her skeins the last few Christmases now. Chosen well, I really like the colours. This one is, I did think about doing something fancier, but I reckon that the big blocks of colour would just be lost. And, well, if I did a pattern, it would probably just be lost because there's just too much going on. This one's a bit too busy for a pattern sock, so I've just gone for a plain one, and it also means I can do this. This is normally what I do at the end of the day, bit of TV on. I find I can knit and watch TV better than I can crochet and watch TV, so this is what I tend to do at the end of the day. And Christine is also doing the Winter Haven Cal at the moment, which is where you choose one of her patterns, and there's folks all around the world knitting something up and taking a bit of me time as well. Some time out, some space. There's lots of photos if you follow the hashtag Winter Haven Cal. It's Cal with a K. They're photos of folks, little cosy knitting corners. I need to get a picture of mine, it's across there. I shall get a picture. Maybe get someone to take one of me doing my knitting in the corner. And from a knitting cal, I finally have a crochet cal. This is the log off mystery crochet along from the crochet project. Clue number 1 came out last Friday, clue number 2 will come out tomorrow, so I feel I can show this now. Yeah, I'm using double knitting weight yarn. I got a bag of double knitting hand dyed yarn from my friend Liz, so I'm using all sorts of bits and pieces from that. The main colour, the turquoisey, tealy, minty, variegated colour is from Unbeliever Wool, and the little L-shaped bits are For the Love of Yarn again, same as I used in these. Does that colour come up any better? They come back a bit. It is cream, it's sort of a vanilla ice cream, that one. So yeah, this was fun. I think it's good for your brain, I think, to work away from a pattern, not seeing what the picture is, and just having to follow the instructions and have no sort of preconceived ideas about how it's going to be, and just take each step as it comes. And yeah, at first I was a bit, what? And I actually ended up with I'll share a photo, I ended up with a gap here. I just, yeah, if you joined in, you'll maybe have done the same error yourself. I just got carried away joining the new motifs, and why have I got a splitty bit? What's happening? Yeah, silly me. I worked it out. I just, I think I popped my laptop away because I haven't printed it. I haven't got a printer at home at the minute. I hadn't printed it, and I was winging it, and suddenly, almost at the end of the motif as well, I suddenly had I don't think it's meant to be flappy, I think it's meant to be square. So yeah, that is the right side. That way. I was right the first time. Yeah, I'm showing you the right side. Yeah, I think at first I was a bit caught up on, oh my goodness, what's right side, what's wrong side, because until you get the L shape bit in, it is a little, I wouldn't say confusing, but yeah, I think that's probably the only tricky bit. But once these colour change bits start appearing, you can see on one side it's definitely more chainy, I suppose, and on this side it's more clear cut. You've got that ridge on both sides. There. So clue 2 tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing where it's going. I'm not sure. Do we reckon that this will come out and form another square? Or this way? Down there? I don't know. Can't wait to find out. I'm going to be changing colours quite a bit. It'll be quite scrappy, I think. So yeah, keep an eye out for this one growing. You can find me on Instagram. I haven't shouted out all the places I am. You can find me on Instagram. I am Marta Mitchell Designs. No, marta.mitchell.designs on Instagram. You can find me there. And on Pinterest, I am Marta Mitchell Designs without the dots. Those are the two main places. You can sign up to my newsletter where you'll get updates. The biggest discount codes, always put the biggest ones on my newsletter. And yeah, I shall pop that in the description below. Is that all the things I need to talk about? I think we've covered them all. So yeah, look out for the latest sock pattern and for the updated sock pattern. And if you stick around, you shall see my new sock pattern too. I hope to be able to share that with you all soon. I can't wait to see how the photos go for that. And they're going to be good. It's always exciting. So yeah, I hope you've all had a good start to the year, and you're having fun with whatever it is you're crocheting, or perhaps knitting, sewing, crafting, baking, all these sorts of things. I hope you're having a good start to the year, and I shall catch up with you real soon in my next podcast episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.